What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video on the channel. In this one, I want to share with you the one thing that could make or break your next ultra marathon. I've run, actually, I don't know what the number is, but I've run 50 milers, 100 Ks, 100 milers, 200-mile races, Ironmans, all those different kinds of races over the last couple years. And this one thing really stands out to me that has helped me from my first attempt at going 100 miles, even my first attempt at doing 52 miles, all the way to the 250-mile race. It's Moab 240, but it actually ended up being 250 miles. And so that one thing that could make or break your next ultra marathon attempt is your crew. If you are watching this video, I'd assume that you probably are training, you probably have a coach that's programming your training, and you're looking for, maybe not, but assuming you've got the basics in place, going into an ultra marathon, you really need to make sure that you get the right crew. And with that, you also have to pre-frame your crew in the right way. I mean, I remember my first 100-miler, I charted a 1-mile loop around my block in Columbus, Ohio. And I mean, what really helped me out when things got tough, when it got dark, it's like the graveyard shift from 11 to 3, 4 a.m. Until the sun comes up is one of the toughest times of the race or the run, because you're exhausted, you're sleep deprived, you have been you've been up all day running, and now it's about time where you should be sleeping, but you're not. And it's really helpful to have the crew there. And then, I mean, in the Tahoe 200, I was about to quit the race several times. I became closer to quitting than I ever had before. But the one thing that helped me was my crew. I mean, yes, I had tactics like eating and sleeping before I decided to quit, but there were times where I was still at the edge, and my crew really helped me push through. And then, your crew, meaning, people who are helping you get your fuel, your water at the aid stations, but also your pacers. Pacers are huge, especially in these races. Yes, you can do the races without pacers. I've done 200-mile races with pacers and then some without. I'll take pacers any day of the week. It just makes it so much more enjoyable to be able to share that experience with someone. And so, the funny thing about having a crew and having pacers, and what I've learned over the years of doing all these races, is that what you tell your crew before a race is extremely important. I haven't been as strategic with this in the past. I really just learned it during the 200s, because inevitably during every single race, I kid you not, the crew ended up calling my coach. Because you think about it, you're doing a 100-mile race, you're doing a 200-mile race, there's definitely going to be lows. You're doing a 50-mile race, there are going to be highs and lows throughout that experience. And especially considering a lot of times, most of the time, the crew is someone, people that love you, friends, family, significant other, whatever, that love you, and they don't want to see you hurt. But inevitably, when you're doing something like this, when you're pushing past barriers, when you're breaking barriers, it's going to hurt. It's going to be uncomfortable. And so there are a couple things that, you want to tell your crew going in, because if not, they'll be left to their own devices. Like a classic story is, I mean, the second night of the Moab 240 race, I had run through the first night. I got the second night, it was around 10 or so, maybe 8 to 10 or so. And I was coming in later than my crew is expected. I mean, at this point, I'm about 100 or so miles in. I haven't slept yet. And so it would make sense that I would start to slow down, especially when there's a big incline section of the race. And so my crew kind of got freaked out, and they called my coach and all these different things. They're trying to problem solve and they're trying to help. But if I would have told them and pre-framed them a little bit better, they would have known more what to expect. Because at least with me, a lot of my crew had never experienced ultramarathons, had never done them. They were just amazing friends who wanted to support me. And that's amazing. But at the same time, they didn't have context for the race. And so you want to, as best you can, give them context before the race. Granted, you don't have to do a weekly Zoom call with them leading up to the race and whatnot, but you do need to do some things to be able to help get them ready. So I'm going to break down 3 things that I'd tell my crew if I were you, and I do tell my crew now moving forward, going through some of these mistakes. And the number one thing that I'd tell my crew is that your job is to get me to finish and not to make sure that I don't experience any pain. Because inevitably during a 100-mile race, 200-mile race, you're going to experience pain. It's going to hurt. And you got to preface that. And whether it's your girlfriend, your wife, or your mom, or whoever who can't stand to see you in pain, honestly, don't have them come to the race. I had my mom come down for the Keys 100. I flew her down to come to my race, and she didn't even come to the race. It was hilarious. She sat at the pool all day because being there, she would have been nervous. She would have been overwhelmed and all of those things. So she just didn't come. She was down there. She was supporting. She saw me after. She helped me make sandwiches before, but she just didn't come. And so for those people, better not to just leave them off your crew. Number 2, to not let how I look as a runner rub off on you. Because one of the worst things that can happen is you look like you're in rough shape, and then your crew, it drags their energy down. And then by like talking to them, interacting with them, you're like, man, I must look like I suck right now or whatever. I must be in rough shape. As a crew, you want to be encouraging your runner. You want to be positive. You want to be like, you can, agree that it sucks. Like, man, it must suck out there, but keep moving on, because sometimes like that positive psychology can just piss you off when you're like, man, my feet feel like they're broken. But as a crew, you don't want to let the runner's energy drag you down, because you want to keep in high spirits. That way the runner stays in high spirits. And one way to do that, which is my 3rd thing, is to have your crew prepared with jokes, even like dad jokes, stupid jokes, whatever makes you laugh. The reason is because even if you're in just such a rough shape, like 200 miles deep into a 250-mile race, your feet hurt, your shoes busted, all these different things were all the case for me. With me and my crew, my pacer, he put on a comedy skit like Kevin Hart, and those jokes made me laugh so hard, because it's a mixture of like you're exhausted and you're slap happy. Like, think about when you pull an all-nighter with friends. Yeah, maybe you're cranky the next day, but you are just so slap happy. You'd laugh at anything. And that's how you are during these races. So if your crew, your pacer comes prepared with 10, 20 jokes. I even had my crew post on my social media to send in jokes to help me get through the race. And that was extremely, extremely helpful. So 3 things to help you out during the race to tell your crew is: 1, your job is not to make me feel good. Your job is to get me to finish. 2, don't make how I look, I'm looking rub off on you. And don't show me that. Stay in positive spirits. Yes, you can agree things suck, but stay in positive spirits. Don't let me as the runner drag you down. And then 3, have your crew prepare some jokes. So hope you enjoyed this video. Subscribe, comment if you want some more, and we'll see you in the next one.